When the sun set in the ancient world, fear began to rise. With no electricity, no protection, and no clear answers, the night became a realm of shadows, spirits, and dangers both real and imagined. But what was it that truly terrified ancient people when darkness fell? Clapperboard Chapter 1. The Power of Darkness. When the sun dipped below the horizon in the ancient world, everything changed. Villages that were alive with chatter, work, and trade just hours earlier fell silent. Without electricity, without lamps beyond a flickering torch or a fading fire, night was a curtain that swallowed everything. Shadows stretched endlessly, and even the smallest sound, the crack of a twig, the howl of wind, could stir unease. To live in the ancient world meant to be vulnerable after dark. A family gathered close to the fire not only for warmth but for survival. Step too far from the hearth, and the world dissolved into pitch black, a place where your senses betrayed you. Was that rustle in the bushes just the breeze, or something watching, waiting? In darkness, the imagination ran faster than reason, and fear filled the gaps the eyes could not. But this fear wasn't baseless. Night stripped away humanity's greatest defense: sight. The unseen world of predators, wolves circling, snakes sliding, or lions on the hunt, came alive when humans were at their weakest. Science people knew that after nightfall, the balance of power shifted. In daylight, they ruled with tools, fire, and numbers. At night, nature reclaimed control. It's no wonder that across cultures, darkness became more than an absence of light. It became a force of chaos. In Mesopotamia, the night was tied to demons and restless spirits. In Egypt, it was the realm where the sun god Ra battled serpents of disorder. For the Greeks, Nyx, the goddess of night, embodied mystery and dread. To every ancient culture, darkness carried weight. It was not empty, it was alive. And as we step deeper into this world of shadows, we must ask, what did people believe was lurking there? Clapperboard Chapter 2. Predators of the Night. If darkness itself was unnerving, what moved within it was far worse. The ancient world was not quiet when the sun disappeared. It was alive with hunters. Wolves prowled just beyond the torchlight, their howls echoing through valleys. Lions and leopards, in regions where Rome and earlier empires spread, stalked silently under the cover of night. Even the hiss of a snake hidden in the grass was enough to send shivers down the spine. To people living without walls of stone or the safety of modern cities, these weren't distant threats. They were constant companions of the night. A farmer in Italy, a shepherd in Mesopotamia, or a traveler along the trade routes in North Africa all shared the same instinct. Once the sky turned black, danger drew near. Every howl, every crack in the brush was not simply noise. It was a warning. Communities responded with the tools they had. Fires burned through the night, not just for warmth, but as protective barriers. Villages sometimes built their homes in circles, placing livestock in the center, with watchmen stationed on the outskirts to raise the alarm at the first sign of movement. Spears and stones were poor weapons against predators, but together, humans relied on noise, light, and numbers to keep the night's hunters at bay. Unlike the imagined threats of spirits or omens, these dangers were painfully real. The loss of a sheep, a cow, or worse, a child, was a wound a family might never recover from. And so the fear of predators became etched into the human experience, passed down in cautionary tales and nightly rituals of protection. But as terrifying as wolves or lions were, not all dangers left claw marks or teeth behind. Some terrors were invisible, slipping into the imagination, and into the world of spirits. Clapperboard Chapter 3. Spirits and Ghosts. If predators threatened the body, spirits threatened the soul. For the ancients, night was not only the hour of beasts, it was also the realm of the dead. When the sun vanished, so too did the barrier between the living and the other world. and countless cultures believed that the darkness allowed spirits to walk freely among the living. In Mesopotamia, people feared the Atemu, restless spirits of those who had not been properly buried or honored. These wandering dead were thought to bring sickness, bad fortune, and even madness to the living. Families made offerings of food and drink at night, hoping to appease them, to keep them from knocking on doors or whispering in the shadows. The Greeks and Romans carried similar fears. They spoke of shades, pale echoes of the departed, who lingered after death. Festivals like the Roman Lemuria were created to drive these spirits away. Rituals where families walked barefoot through their homes, casting black beans as offerings to keep the dead at rest. To the Romans, an unburied corpse was not just a tragedy. It was a haunting waiting to happen. Night itself seemed tied to the underworld. For Greeks, dusk was the time of Nyx, goddess of night, whose children included death and doom. To Egyptians, the night sky was a passage through which the sun god Ra sailed, fighting serpents and demons until morning's light returned. To countless people, the absence of light meant the presence of spirits, and every flickering shadow could be something more. Unlike wolves or lions, these fears could not be fought with fire or walls. You could not spear a ghost or shout it away. And that powerlessness made spirits one of the most haunting terrors of the night. But ghosts were not the only invisible danger. Sometimes it was not the dead who threatened in darkness, but the gods themselves. Chapter 4: Wrath of the Gods. If ghosts haunted the imagination of the ancients, the skies above carried an even greater terror. The wrath of the gods. When night fell, the heavens became a canvas of mystery, and every strange light, rumble, or shadow seemed to carry a divine message. For people without science, the night sky was not silent, it was speaking. An eclipse could send entire cities into panic. The sun disappearing, the moon turning blood red. These were not natural events, but punishments. In Mesopotamia, eclipses were believed to foretell the death of kings, and elaborate rituals were performed to protect rulers from divine anger. In Rome, eclipses were seen as signs that the gods demanded sacrifice, often pushing emperors to hold ceremonies to calm the heavens. Stars themselves were not just points of light, but omens. A sudden comet could mean war or disaster. A shooting star might signal the death of a great leader. Ancient Chinese astronomers kept detailed records of such events, interpreting them as warnings from heaven about the empire's fate. The night sky was a map of divine will, and every flicker had meaning. Even storms in the darkness carried terror. Thunder rolling across black skies was not just weather. It was the voice of gods like Zeus or Jupiter, hurling their displeasure upon the earth. Lightning striking in the dead of night could be read as a direct sign of judgment. For common people, these signs were terrifying, but for priests and shamans, they were opportunities. They became interpreters of the night, standing between mortals and the divine. Their role was to explain the chaos of darkness, to tell frightened villagers what the gods demanded, and how to avoid their anger. In the silence of night, when eclipses swallowed the sky or thunder split the heavens, ancient people did not just fear nature, they feared divine wrath. And yet, not all terrors came from above. Some of the darkest dangers of the night came from the world of the living.